Hi, my name is VJ, and these are my fellow teachers, Mia and Amma. We are from EcoAct, and today we're going to teach you the difference between biotic and abiotic. First, take a second and think about what those words might mean. Okay, biotic means something that is living or was once living, and abiotic means something that was never living at all. Now, Amma will tell you about the game that you're about to play.
Yep. So now we're going to talk and go play a fun game called Abiotic versus Biotic Factors, and it's a whack-a-mole game. So now you're going to go to the Abiotic versus Biotic Factors game link, and you are going to go to the top right corner and click the whack-a-mole game. So I will show you how to do that. So here's the game, and then right over here, you have the whack-a-mole game. So you're going to go to the whack-a-mole game, and then you are going to play one round, and you're going to try to hit the biotic and biotic factors, or abiotic factors, and put them in the right place. So, for example, pollution is an abiotic factor. And you're going to play one round of this, and you got to pay close attention to the things that you see in the game, because you're going to have to use them later to answer a few questions after the game. So, now that you're done with the game, we're going to go to the Google Forms and answer a few game questions about the game. So I hope you guys are paying close attention. So when you go to the Google Form, you are going to see the first section pop up, which is the abiotic versus biotic game section. And you are going to answer the two questions. What was one biotic factor that you noticed in the game, and what was one abiotic factor that you noticed in the game? Don't submit the form yet. When you're done, you're going to use it again later. Now that you're done with the forms, Mia is going to go in more depth about what abiotic and biotic factors are.
This whole lesson is just about uncovering our world. Okay, so first let's talk about some definitions, and this is gonna kind of be repeating what VJ just said, but we'll go over it again and with some examples this time. So biotic factors, like VJ said, are living or once living things or components in any kind of ecosystem. So we, like people, are biotic factors, and any kind of animals like fish or deer or anything like that are they are living, so they are biotic factors. Another interesting thing is that anything that was once living are also biotic factors. So like sticks or anything that might be on the ground from a tree or anything that is dead now but was once living is also a biotic factor. An abiotic factor is a non-living thing or component in the environment that affects the ecosystem. So some examples that we have here are rocks, we have some dirt, also sand, and then also in that picture there's water, and water is also an abiotic factor. Another really important thing is that abiotic factors are not man-made things. So you might think, oh, plastic, but plastic is not going to be an abiotic factor. Some more examples, we have any kind of animals, like I said, like any dogs or cats that you might have in your house, giraffes, because they're animals. And then another thing is grass, because it is living, it is biotic. And then another thing that are abiotic are sunlight and water, and also air. Just because you can't touch sunlight or touch air necessarily doesn't mean that it isn't abiotic. So another really important thing to talk about are environmental factors. So environmental factors are any abiotic or biotic factor that influence living organisms. So things like air, wind, sunlight, temperature, anything that can affect living or non-living things, basically.
Now we're going to talk about tools. The first tool is a thermometer. Think about what that tool might be used for. Okay, a thermometer is used to measure the temperature of an area. It can be measured in two scales, Celsius or Fahrenheit. This is not the only way to measure temperature. The next tool is a light meter. Think about what a light meter might be used for. Okay. A light meter is used to measure how much sunlight there is in a certain area. It is measured in lux. This is not the only way to measure sunlight. The next tool is sight. How might sight be used when thinking about biotic and abiotic things? Okay. Sight is used to see what is around your environment. Really help you look at the number of people, pollution, buildings, cars, roads. Sight is a very important sense. The next tool is called a wind meter. How might a wind meter be used? Okay. A wind meter is used to measure how much wind there is in a certain area. The cups will move and depict how much wind there is. This is not the only way to measure wind. Now the next tool is a magnifying glass and a hula hoop. Now think about how these tools can be used. Okay, a magnifying glass and a hula hoop are both great ways to help identify biotic things in the area. They can help you measure where they are and what they look like. These are not the only ways to measure biotic organisms. Next, we will move on to a game that will have you use all these tools we just talked about. Amma will now tell you about this game.
Howdy. So now we are going to talk about said game. And in this game, we are going to go through and we're going to use those tools that we just talked about to do a little bit of scientific observations. Woohoo! But before we go to Zooniverse, we got to answer a few questions about abiotic and biotic factors. So we're going to go back to the handy dandy Google Forms and we're going to answer sections 2 and 3. And this is what they should look like. So section 2 is definition, review, and practice. So we got to make sure that you know what an abiotic or biotic factor is so we can play the next game. So you're going to answer a few of those questions. Then we're going to do a little bit of vocab practice, which is a multiple choice. So you, for example, what is the definition of a biotic factor? Do you remember? I think that it's a living or once living component in an ecosystem. So once you finish sections 2 and 3, we can go to the next game. So the next game is Zooniverse. And we are going, there's 2 options. You can play the seal watch or the penguin watch. For this one, I want to play the penguin watch. So we are going to head over to the penguin watch. So this is what the website looks like. And you're going to scroll down and then you're going to choose one of these pictures. Now, I think we should do this one. So now you're going to take a few minutes, probably about 3 or 5 minutes, and you're going to go through and you're going to try and identify all the biotic and abiotic factors, or at least as many as you can. So we've got some dirt here. Is dirt a biotic or abiotic factor?
It is an abiotic factor because it is not living.
Oh, cool. What about the penguins?
The penguins are biotic factors.
Oh, cool. So after about 5 minutes of this, you're going to go back to the Google Forms and answer the last couple of questions. Go down to section 4 out of 4, so the last section of the Google Forms. And it should look like this. So you've got the Zooniverse biotic and abiotic factors, and you're going to go through and write down a few of the factors that you saw, or the biotic factors, a few of the abiotic factors, and then answer a couple other questions. And once you're done writing down all the abiotic and biotic factors you saw, then you can actually submit the form. So you're done. And now Mia will leave you with a parting message.
So now we're just gonna kind of wrap up, and I'm gonna ask you a few questions that can leave you thinking about different things. So first, just think about like what your favorite part about the lesson was. I know you can't really answer us right now, but we would love for you guys to be talking about your favorite part, what you liked and what you didn't like. And now for kind of our independent practice, we're going to leave you guys, but we're wanting you to brainstorm some ideas of biotic and abiotic factors that are in the ecosystem of a forest. And we know that you don't live in a forest, so we just want you to think of some ideas that you could possibly have. And then we'd like you to think about some factors that are in your environment and kind of compare and contrast them. So we just want you to think about like what are some of the similarities and what are some of the differences. And we're going to leave you with that.